Alright guys, the Punisher Max 17 here, and I bet a lot of you guys know exactly what this box is from. It says it on it, of course. The new HMM Gojulas. Now this is a big milestone release for the HMM line. By far the biggest kit in the HMM line, and possibly the biggest kit Kotobukiya has ever even made. At least I'm not familiar with a larger one if there is. But this is the box that it comes in straight from HLJ. Of course, it's already been opened up. But has Gojulas on the outside. It just looks cool. It says Zoids and Kotobukiya and stuff. It was just awesome receiving this box in the mail, you know, as opposed to just a cardboard box that said HLJ on it. So, inside this box, we have this right here. The Gojulas itself. Now, a massive box on this, of course. It fit pretty snugly in that over there. And the sheer size of this box is difficult to describe. I have a little comparison here. This is a typical, like, SH Figure Arts box. Something I got my girlfriend for Christmas, actually. And you can see it's minimal. I mean, if you know the size of a typical box of that, it's just hard to get a good comparison on this. And it's very thick as well. As you can see, there's a close-up of the line art of the Gojulas there. Sadly, this isn't my favorite box art in the world, but it still just looks amazing. Now, this is a really heavy cardboard box that opens from the side, and you can see on the other side you have close-up of the box art itself. In addition to this, it comes in a little sleeve, I guess you could say, that is the exact same as the box, which on the back it has a whole lot of close-up pictures of the kit itself and a line art down there. But this is it outside of its sleeve, of course. Now, it's a little difficult to get it open at first. See, it's got a handle here, like the suitcase kind of thing that the perfect grade Gundams have as well. You slide these two little parts out, and you just open it up, and then you'll see a black and white picture of the Gojulas box art there, which is just a cool little thing. I don't know why I find it so neat, but it's just pretty cool. And inside you have 3 white boxes, 2 smaller ones and one that's twice the size of the others, of course. Now I'm going to pause this video for a moment, get these boxes out, and we can look at what's in them. Alright, so here we have the 3 boxes outside of the Gojulas box itself. And we'll start with the largest one. You open it up and you see it has this light gray color. Now the color scheme for this Gojulas is pretty similar to the, it's a kind of a mix between the original Japanese release of the 80s and the Gojulas Giga. That was released over here, at least in the mid-2000s, early 2000s maybe. But you can see these are some pieces for the leg, pretty sizable pieces, some of the largest on the kit. And a lot of these other pieces I would guess are for the leg, but I couldn't say for sure. There's just so many pieces on this kit, it's hard to say where a lot of these small individual pieces are going to end up going. And I haven't taken a detailed look at the manual. Those are 2 duplicate runners there. Next up, I'll start with this gray side as well, like we had on the last runners. And then we have a dark gray here. The color's actually showing up pretty decently well on the camera, so that's a pretty good look at what colors this is in. I've heard a lot of people saying that they are really happy with how this looks right out of the box, and the colors. And I gotta agree that a lot of this is pretty spot on to what the model is supposed to look like, and we'll get into some of the other colors later on. Now these are some cool pieces that Kotobukiya included, and these are the interiors of the legs. So there's a lot of internal detail going on here, and that's really appreciated. I can't actually think of any other Zoids where you've had this kind of internal detail, at least the ones I've built. I mean, they all have a lot of detail, of course, but that's just a very nice little touch that I'm going to have a lot of fun detailing. And those are duplicate runners, of course, in that same dark gray. Now, this might be a little bit lighter. Nope, I think that's just a play on the light. This is the same gray as before. Yet again, more pseudo internal frame pieces, I would say. It's not like the Liger Zero or the Berserk Fury that has a full inner frame. It's much more similar to something like the Geno Breaker or Genosaur, where all of the pieces just simply fit together to form the model, and you aren't really clipping on all of the armor pieces. Some more light gray here. I know some of these parts are for the main body, but like I said before, to be honest, I'm really not 100% sure on some of this stuff. And some more pieces here. Now I know this is the bottom of the jaw. You'll see just how big this is going to be in the head and stuff. And these are the two pieces on either side of its, I guess you would call its nose. So very large pieces here, and you can obviously tell this is going to be a pretty hefty model kit. Some more dark gray here. Nice detail on some of these parts. They are very large parts, and in some ways they seem like enlarged versions of parts that you would see for other similar Zoids. I mean, they just simply look about twice as big as you would expect them to be because of the size of this kit. Now here we run into one of my first small complaints about this kit, and that is these tubes here, the hoses, that I would have expected them to just mold in one piece, but I'll flip this around and you can see here that you actually have to snap those together. So that's going to create a seam line down the middle of those hose pieces that is going to be not too much of a pain to remove, but just rather unfortunate and something I feel was unnecessary. Otherwise, on this runner, the only pieces I'm really for sure about what exactly they are is the feet there. Duplicate runners, by the way. Some more internal frame pieces. I know some of this is a little difficult to see just because it's got the second runner in the back of it. Another instance of these hoses having to have the seam line removed and be snapped together again. Duplicate runners here as well. The next to last one in this box is this, which most notably on this here is the spine kind of, I don't know what you'd call them, they're just the spikes or scales on his back, which yet again have to be snapped together, and I'm just very surprised by that. I wish it would have been the other way around, but there may have just been something manufacturing or building wise that couldn't have been accomplished otherwise. I haven't really taken a close look at the manual or seen how exactly this is built, so there may be very important stuff that, or reasons that it had to be like that. Another set of duplicate runners here, more internal frame parts. So I know that box was filled with a whole lot of gray and a whole lot of stuff that probably looked similar on camera, to be honest. Next up, we have this box, which is actually only about half filled. It's most of all the smaller runners. We'll start here with some gray parts. To be honest, I don't have the slightest clue what these parts go to, but they are a couple of duplicate runners there. Next up, we have some more gray parts. Not a lot of detail on these parts. They look more just simply, I don't know what to call them, but just not much detail. Next up, we have a lot of caps. Now, these are the end caps on it. I'm not sure how well they're showing up on camera. It doesn't seem to be focusing. But now these are runners of 18 of them, and there's 3 in this package, and there's going to be even more to come later on in this model. And here's our first look at polycaps. This is the polycap 1 sheet. Now we have a whole lot more to come, and you're probably actually going to be a little surprised by how many there actually are in this. I know I was. Next we have some gold, and this is my second only real complaint on the kit, is that the gold doesn't look nice right out of the box. It's unfortunate, in my opinion, that it's not like the gold that was included on, say, the Liger Zero or something. This is pretty pale, marbled, just not fantastic looking if you're building it right out of the box. Now that's not something I'm going to have to worry about, of course. I'm going to be painting it, and it'll be looking a whole lot more golden, I guess. But just if you're building it out of the box, that's something to be wary of, is that the gold really doesn't look that fantastic. Here's the silver. Looks better than the gold in my opinion, but still not great. Definitely something worth painting. These are the teeth. I'll see if you can actually see the teeth themselves here. A lot of people have had problems with how flat these teeth are. I don't have any problem with it. I still think it looks nice, but a lot of people have mentioned that they're going to be sharpening those up on their kits. Some more internal frame here, mostly for the head. As you can see, that is either the top or the bottom jaw, I'm not sure, but there's just so much intricate detail on there. It's going to look absolutely beautiful when painted, and that just goes to show how much work went into the molding of this kit. Very, very nice. And not a duplicate runner on the back. These are some more dark gray internal frame kind of pieces. Let's see. Next up we have red parts. Clear red. Not 100% sure where they go on the kit, just a couple things. This is the canopy that goes over the eyes. Very large, a smoky gray kind of color. Very nicely colored and a nice size. Yet again, goes to show how big the head is going to be on this kit. Lastly, there is the Zoids core and the assembly for a pilot figure. We've got a couple more bags in this box. First up being duplicate runners of some gun pieces. We have some more silver. More silver that I think is in need of painting, of course. Lastly, we have 2 runners of 12 caps each, and the yellow, clear yellow parts. This clear yellow is used for the eyes, at least, and several other places on the kit, of course. There's been some talk about whether people like to keep it yellow or want to keep it red, because it is red on the original Japanese release. But personally, I've seen it red and I've seen it yellow, and I prefer the yellow. I'm not, one to think it needs to be faithful to the Japanese release or anything, and I'm much happier with it being in yellow, I think. At least from what I've seen. But who knows? Maybe that'll change with the paint scheme I'm doing. We have one last runner of gray here, and on the other side we'll get a hint of a new color, and that is blue. Now this is actually a beautifully colored blue. I'm really happy with how this looks right out of the box. A lot of detail on these parts, and in my opinion it looks very, very good. It's a nice faded navy blue kind of color. Now these are the polycaps I was talking about. You can see how big that sheet of polycaps is, and there's 2 of them. Those are duplicate runners of polycaps right there, and I think that's more than anything showing how big this kit's going to be. That is a ton of polycaps. I've never seen so many on a model kit before. Here we have a set of duplicate runners of these blue parts again. No real special parts on here, to be honest. I'm really not 100% sure where they go. I know those are the claws, but that's about it. Next up, we have what looks like arm pieces, internal frame kind of stuff. Some nice detail on these, but otherwise just a couple of duplicate runners. Actually, those aren't duplicate runners. Maybe? No, they're not. So, my mistake. Some more blue parts here. These look mostly to be going on the thrusters on his back. At least these here, some of the stuff down here. Got a couple more in this box. One more of the blue with some very large, very nicely colored pieces here. Very nicely detailed, I should say. And another runner on the back. Then we have a whole lot of gold. And yet again, this is the same gold as I was speaking about earlier. Not real happy with the color, but there's 3 runners in this package. I just now noticed that. I thought there were only 2. 2 large runners and 1 small runner. That's right there. And it looks like that's it for the parts. Also included in this kit is some water slides. That is a fantastic inclusion. You don't get water slides with model kits enough, in my opinion. and I really love it when they do include those. You also get this Zoids 30th anniversary. I don't know if this is a decal, a sticker, what exactly it is. I haven't taken it out of the bag to find out, but it'd be pretty cool if it was a decal or something you can put on, say, your laptop or even a notebook or something like that. And lastly is the manual. Now this is a huge manual for a huge kit, of course. Whole lot of information in here about the Gojulas, if you can read Japanese, of course, and all sorts of assembly instructions. Now this is all the parts to the kit. There's got to be well over 1,000 parts here. Like I said, by far the biggest Zoid, possibly the biggest Kotobukiya kit ever made. And it looks like it's going to be a ton of fun to build. I'm very, very excited about it. And I'm really looking forward to getting it all assembled, getting it painted, and I'm going to be starting it soon. Of course, because of the size of it, it's going to be quite some time before it'll be completed, but I'm trying to get back into painting and modeling and stuff more than I have been over the past 6 months or so. So I'm really looking forward to getting it done and showing it off to you guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.